about it tonight.
Okay, well, you might want to talk to him and see that, you know, what he's,
Well,
how
I'm
he's
addressing the
handled it.
board. Tony came here with a problem,
You're right.
and nobody's addressed his problem yet. I think we owe him some kind of an answer.
Lou, I think you need to go and talk to Dan Marciniak as well and find out what's been done as far as Mike Payton.
Is this going to be our answer to Tony then? That we should go discuss this with Dan to see what...
Dan's a code enforcement officer, building inspector.
Okay.
So it's his department. We do not handle this. We cannot go knock on Tony's neighbor's door and tell him, by order of the town board, you have to do this. It has to go through code enforcement, building inspector.
Okay. So that's our answer to Tony then?
That's our answer to Tony. This board does not hold the
No, that's right.
authority
The
to
town
take care
does
of
not have
that.
the authority to do it. The proper procedure is first go through the code enforcement officer. If the code enforcement officer is not satisfactorily addressing the problem, then there are legal remedies that you can take against the town, but which would be against the code enforcement officer.
So that's our answer to Tony, that we should be discussing this with the code enforcement officer. Did you discuss it with the code enforcement officer? And?
I did exactly what I was told to do.
Address the board?
I said, get the pictures, get the proof. He says, and then resolve it.
Maybe Dan and I can talk about this offline, and we can figure out what the best way is to get a resolution to this.
Any other concerns? You good? Any other concerns? Done? Okay. We'll go on to discussion. The water conveyor lodge. Did you guys look over the water? Actually, can I just back up for 1 minute? Mr. Peterson's sitting in the back row, and I'd like to get to him. Let's skip ahead. Survey maps for Peterson. Rick Peterson is buying the old Hamer Road bed from the county. This started last summer, last year.
Year and a half ago.
Sorry, started a year and a half ago. Last November, a letter was sent to the county by the planning board chair saying that the planning board was on board. All they wanted to see was an easement for the water, for our water lines, because we have water lines that run through there. What I gave you are 3 different easements for 3 different sections of the road, assuming they're different parcel numbers. That's why there are 3. Doug Cole drew them up from McDonald Engineering. So the county, I talked to someone at the county this week, Jim. What is Jim's last name?
Jim Gabriel.
Thank you. And Jim asked, what the county needs from the town is that we give our blessing on the map and that we give our blessings on the easements. From there, the county's going to have to take it to the legislature to finish the sale, but they need our blessing. So if you guys want and you need more time to look over it, you can take it a month. If you're okay with the easements and the blessing on the map, we can pass a resolution tonight to give our blessing. Here is a map of the entire project. The maps you have on the back of the easements are small sections. This gives you a better, clearer picture of the whole. You want to see this all in one piece? Okay. Anybody else want to see it? Because I have it.
So the easement is just for the water line?
The easement is just for the water line.
I don't see that.
This is to allow the town access to the. This is Ricky giving us an easement, yes.
To the water line.
To the water lines, in case we need a repair. Right?
Fine with it.
This has to be, he has to get approved by the county, but they need this step to move forward.
Nod and a link from us.
They want the town to say, we have
And the
easements.
state.
Oh, it has to be approved by the county and the state. But they want,
It has
Has
been.
been.
oh, it has already
It's
been,
already been approved
But the
by
county
the state
ledge hasn't done
legislature.
it
Yes,
yet.
it has.
well, then what Jim Gabriel told me I had to go to the county legislator for final.
The easement is the only thing left.
Okay. So it's all approved except for the easement. We're holding it up. No.
So is their approval
It
conditioned?
was the National Grid easement, and also
your guys' easement to go on that property to work on the water lines.
It's really asshole.
Right, well, I'm assuming they did some type of conditional approval or something like that, based upon our granting this easement or something.
So if everyone's fine with the easement and the map, then we should.
I'll make a motion.
To what? Okay, do I hear a motion?
Get it over.
We'll have to make a resolution. Do I hear a motion to approve the map?
You can't get them down on price?
I'll make the motion.
The map of the.
So if Doug makes the motion, is it okay that then the resolution be written by like Pete or whatever?
Yeah.
And we'll insert it,
So,
and Doug make,
I mean, the
Just so I know.
resolution should read,
Okay, it would
approve
be-
the map.
it would be-
Can you make it short?
Yes. No, I can't actually.
no, yeah.
I just want to make sure procedurally, we don't do anything that's going to slow the completion.
I know, I
Right.
I'm looking for a date on the map, something I can refer to.
This is not it. Go with
On the
today's
bottom
date.
corner.
Oh, there's a date on it.
April
Okay,
20th.
so it would be a motion to approve the amendment to the town map as reflected on the map called Schenectady County Old Pangburn Road, prepared for Richard Peterson, dated April 20th, 2011. And
I'm sorry, what was the date?
April 20th,
20th.
2011. And the proposed easement agreements between Richard Peterson and the town of Princetown relating to a water easement over the property.
I'll second
John. And
Bob?
Bob seconds it. All in favor?
it. Aye.
Aye. So I will send a letter to the county with the resolution attached stating that there's our blessing. All right, now back to the beginning of discussion. Water purveyor, who has ideas, thoughts, questions, comments about what?
Is there a draft?
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Aye. I thought I did that.
You did that.
I did? Oh, I did that, Doug.
She had no idea.
Well, all in favor? Okay, aye.
Now I heard it.
Water purveyor, thoughts, questions?
Did you send around the draft?
I sent around the examples that were given to us. I handed you guys those examples last month. And along with ZRC comments about water purveyor law. Okay, Lou didn't have a chance to review it. Anyone else? Bob?
I think it looks okay, I think that,
You think, well, it looks okay. We don't have one of ours. We
well,
had
no,
two
what we
examples.
looked at, the examples were, but I like the idea of going with what the state requires, okay? I don't like the idea of us having more stipulations and requirements on top of what's already required.
Todd wants eminent domain.
I didn't say that.
Not tonight.
Right. I have one question. I know in the ZRC comments, one of the comments was that the aquifer boundaries have not been determined. So, they were basically stating, I believe, that that the proposed law should be enacted to cover the entire town. I didn't know I think originally when we started dealing with this, when the issue first came up, it was really driven around the aquifer area. Would it make sense to determine those boundaries and enact a law that was specific to that, if in fact that was the whole purpose of why this all got started? Do we really need a law for the entire town? Because I know when we started talking about it for the entire town, a whole bunch of other issues ended up coming up.
I don't agree with, I think you should have it around your own water park.
The
Well,
town.
I live on Pangan Road down below it, and if I want to put a well in there, I don't see why I can't.
So you think it should be for the aquifer area?
Right.
So I guess the question.
So like W1. Yeah.
That was one of my questions. Should we determine that? Is that determinable? Can we do that? And for enact a law, then speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, we have the boundaries for W1, W2, W3, W4. What feeds the aquifer is far beyond in other towns, so we think. So I would say we could focus on W1. Yes, no, do
Well,
you
this
want
is
to
what I was
go
talking about, that I
beyond?
was agreeing with, is ZRC comments.
Okay, that you're agreeing with that it should be for the whole town?
No, but with what they were saying, I don't think that we ought to be stipulating further requirements other than what the state does. You know, the state requires the different tests and everything. That's
Right,
what
I mean,
was
we have
getting
to,
at.
so you're in agreement that any water purveyor who has a DOH, New York State DOH permit for the hauling of potable water, as long as the permit is in effect, would also use as a special use permit for the purpose of the town. The only addition we would make is that all permits, reports, et cetera, be copied to the town. Right. Gino, there's a couple of things about a DOH permit. An applicant for a DOH permit has to get the blessing of the town that it's okay to have the commercial well business there, is that correct?
That's my understanding. They actually have to have an approval of some sort from this town,
Right.
or whatever town they plan on pulling water on.
And right now, it's going through planning.
Right now, anything on Route 7 has to go through a special use permit for planning.
Right. Doug, do you have any further on this?
That's the only thing, I think, you know, do what you gotta do around our water.
Mm.
But you can't tell somebody in the north end of town if they got a well, or somebody that's
In the
over
water
that way,
district.
below it or whatever.
Right.
You know, how can you tell somebody they can't do something on their land if they wanna do it?
Right.
I think the whole purpose was really about town, protecting the town
Right.
water source.
Okay.
Quality
More
and
so than-
safety and quantity.
Right, and I think the concern came from, you know, buildings that are of water purveyors or that are protecting a wellhead, that they be secured, which, you know, we know that one is not at the moment. You know, hoses laying on the ground or backflow valves or those sorts of things, that should be something to protect the surrounding wells and other, you know, all businesses plus the municipal wells, not just us. I mean, technically, A1's wells are at the bottom of this area. So A1's gonna get, you know, they're downstream, technically. So you wanna work on, you guys wanna look at the W1 area, try to come up, go over the ZRC comments again, look at the example laws, and then we'll be back. Okay.
Sounds good.
Changes to the highway law. In your box today, I left you changes to the highway law. There's some things that need to be corrected. Take the month, look over them. There are some things that were missed when the highway law was changed back in '09. Just little things, language things. So take a look at that and we can discuss it in June. We're gonna have to have a public hearing to change it. So we should look at that. Okay, survey master Peterson, done. NYMER. Time to renew with NYMER. Do we want to continue with NYMER insurance? Are we happy with NYMER? Do we want to go out and get bids for insurance for the town?
Have we ever done that before?
What kind of get bids?
Gone bid for that?
We haven't in a while. We've had NYMER for a while.
When I was on the board, I think in 2004 or 5, I got bids.
So we haven't looked at bids in a
So
while.
it's been a while. That was the last time.
So how's our service been?
Well, they just declined coverage
In a lawsuit.
in the lawsuit that was recently served with. They may have had good grounds upon which to do it, but nevertheless, if you want to send a message.
Might not hurt to check around.
It might not hurt to check around and give the scenario and look and see. I'm happy to do that unless somebody else wants to take that on. I am insurance liaison, however.
We work together,
You want it? Okay.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, okay. I'll shop. I think we have until the end of June before we have to renew it, so.
Okay.
We have a little bit of time, but I think it might be worth looking at. Okay. Carol, bring up the request from Lamb's Church.
This has come up a little bit in the past, but the church up on Route 7 has asked that they be able to place an ad in the town's newsletter. You know, everyone knows who's been on the board the answer to that, but I said I would bring it to the board.
Like the separation of church and state.
Where's the church?
It's up on Dwaynesburg Road.
Across from
It's in
Powder
the-
Head,
Yeah.
in the TNT Plaza
TNT.
building.
Physical therapy. I'm.
That's all well and good, it's just if we start doing it, then it's gonna be setting a precedent for everybody.
Whenever it's been brought up in the past, since the beginning of the newsletter, all the boards prior to this board has always said no. Because it opens up a whole, but this is a new board,
And
so.
it's not that I don't think we're opposed to the advertising, it's just I think that it could get very costly.
Start advertising for one, you're gonna do it for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
But
Public comments that remain tonight. Does anybody want to address anything that was brought up?
I already addressed mine for what I had to say about it.
Okay. I do. Mayor Sue Reed asked a question about public comment being limited to 3 minutes at the public hearing for the comprehensive plan merging committee. I would say that would be left up to the committee. It's up to them. So that would be their choice. Unless.
I don't think of anything.
They can have their own
but in
guidelines.
In advance of that, I'll double check.
Okay. Mike Joyce asked about spending town funds to defend the judge. I don't know if you were here last month, Mike, but I have a letter dated April 12th, and this letter was read into record, and it is from Whiteman, Osterman, and Hannah. The town of Princetown did not spend a dime to personally defend the judge of this town. Didn't happen. It's been said, it's been stated in the paper, it's been brought up. It is not truthful. And a copy of this letter will be with the minutes online. So to say that we spent money to personally defend the judge is not truthful. As far as
Excuse me, did we spend any money for our attorney to discuss the dog issue?
with judicial ethics, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
There was one phone call, I believe it was 40 minutes. It is on an invoice. It was a phone call from judicial ethics wanting to know the basis of they're conducting an investigation. They did call the town attorney. It was not in defense of Michelle. It was an interview on the phone to find out what had happened as far as the tickets went, but it was not in defense of Michelle.
No, it wasn't in defense, but we did spend money on it then.
It was on behalf of the town.
Okay.
That's not personally, spending money personally to defend the
No.
judge. That is on behalf of the
I
town.
agree.
No, I'm saying, it was not representing the judge, it was representing the town. There was one phone call, which is on an invoice. As far as agenda availability, you brought up agenda meetings. I've had questions over agenda meetings before. I don't see how, unless we have an agenda meeting, we can get the agenda. Definitely can't do it 2 weeks before a meeting because there's too much stuff going on leading up to. 2 and 3 days prior, there's still things changing, it's hard. If the board wants to look into having agenda meetings, it's fine, we can discuss it. The agenda is here and available and waiting at 6 o'clock the night of a meeting. Come early if you would like to look over it and address and That's the best I can give you, because today, you were here at 3 o'clock, it wasn't even done, we were still changing and tweaking, and there were some things, so, I don't think the agenda was done
Typically
until
happens.
4 o'clock.
Yeah, it typically happens that sometime in the afternoon of the meeting is when the agenda is done.
Right.
Now, I would say majority of it, granted, is done. But the last minute, there's always things that come from the engineer, that come from the attorneys, that wherever, a whole host of areas.
Right.
So, you know, I can only do with what is given to me to get on the agenda.
Is it a possibility to have what's gonna be on the agenda? What we've already discussed? And then if there was add-ons later, you just add it on. At least some people would have an idea on some of the items that are gonna be discussed.
Well, I think then you run into, some people have this agenda, and some people have that agenda, and all kinds of information is mixed up. I'm not really quite sure how.
I think, again, I keep coming back to the Association of Town Guideline Town Board meeting. And that it's the town board meeting to conduct the business of the town. And though I understand, the opportunity and the importance of it,